And good Tuesday afternoon. It is Tuesday, April 13th. It is 1:30 p.m. and a very important conversation to be had today, and a important topic, and there's lots of news coming about it. And I appreciate her reaching out to me to make sure that we get this information out to you. And she's Colleen Burns Jermain. She's the Superintendent of Newport Public Schools. And how are you, Colleen?
Very well. How are you, Ryan? Nice to see you. Thank you for having me today.
As well. Of course. And thanks for reaching out to me to remind me that, we have to talk to you more often. There's a lot going on with Newport Public Schools, a lot of changes. Kids are going back to school. Vaccines are getting out. What's the latest?
Okay, so I think the biggest change we have coming is right after April vacation, we're going to have more students in-person learning. So we opened it up to more families at the elementary level, any and all that want to come back 5 days a week. We are, because the CDC did lessen the restrictions from 6 feet to 3 feet, we are able to fit more desks in the classrooms and have more children come to school on a regular basis. We are at Thompson and Rogers. Now we're getting rid of the hybrid model, so no longer will there be the A-B days, and students will now be able to go right now from Tuesday through Friday every day to school. So that's, I think, the biggest change for everyone is more students will be coming to school more often every week. And with the relaxing of the distance requirements, we can also fit more children on the buses. So we'll be able to have transportation for everyone as they return to the schools. And as you mentioned, we were very fortunate, the Newport Public School Department, full-time staff at the schools, school site workers, we were eligible for vaccines. So by the time we return from April vacation, those that did participate will be fully vaccinated. So that's another big plus for all of us.
That is a very big plus. So at the Monday or Tuesday, I guess, after April vacation, school will look a whole lot different for a lot of children.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll just keep plugging along. We have new guidance for the high school graduation and proms. So this year, our seniors will be able to have a graduation and they will be able to have a prom. The guidance just came out yesterday with an update to be coming out to us again May 11th. And the hope is that as time goes forward and more people get vaccinated and the restrictions loosen up even more, that we'll be able to have those regular yearly events for our seniors and our high school students. So we're looking forward to that.
Excellent. Just to go back to kids going back to school, the only ones that it will be optional for is Rogers, or will it be, to stay at home and distant learn or to go back to school?
That's a good question. All families that opted for distance learning this year will be able to continue distance learning for this school year. So the principals are very busy, especially at the middle school level. So what they will do with the teacher schedules is they will have most likely a designated distance learning section as part of their daily schedule, and they'll be meeting with children online every day. So we did allow families the option to stay in distance learning.
Now, in terms of, you're pretty much getting back in school for what, the final 2 months here?
Final 8 weeks when we get back.
8 weeks.
We'll have 8 weeks, a full semester when we get back. And we'll go through to, I believe the last day is around June 21st, 23rd. So we'll be in, and this year we followed a state calendar that was mandated by the governor. Next year we'll go back to our usual calendar, local calendar. Tonight the school committee will be reviewing it and hopefully approving, and children next year will be starting on Wednesday, September 8th. I think I have that right. Wednesday, September 8th for all students next year.
I'll write that down now. And
get ready after Labor Day. We kept it after Labor Day.
and I'll flip through my September calendar just to make sure we are on a Wednesday here. So let's see here. It is Wednesday, September 8th. You are right. You mentioned teachers, staff getting vaccine. The big question that everybody will have is, are all the teachers opting in? What kind of hesitancy are you seeing among teachers and staff?
I haven't really seen any. For those people that may not be aware, that's a personal decision. So because of HIPAA, et cetera, we really can't ask the question. What I can do as a superintendent, just make all our staff aware that we're expecting everyone to report back right after April vacation. So.
All right. And so everybody, and all the teachers that I know and all the staff, most of the adults I know are chomping at the bit to get that appointment in and to get that vaccine. So,
yeah.
It has been it's been a long year, and this is some positive, good news getting back to school. What are you hearing from parents this week with this news coming up?
I think a lot of parents are very happy that the children are able to go back to school more often, more days. I think the other thing that's making a lot of families happy is we are also changing our close contact requirements. Newport was going by the gold rule of 14 days if you were a close contact. Now, if you are identified as a close contact, we're going to 10 days. Because of all the relaxations in the guidelines and what we're learning more and more about the difference between 14-day and 10-day quarantining. So 10 days will be a quarantine requirement, but you may test out on day 7 or further. So I bring that up because I think that's another important new news for families, especially for those who travel to hotspots. We are still looking at any state that has above a 5% positivity rate. We will consider that a hotspot, and we do have all those states listed on our website. So if families do travel to those areas, when they return, children will have to stay out for 10 days, or on day 7, if they get a negative test, they may come back. They bring that back and they can go back to school.
And for those wondering, there are 26 states on that list this week. The list is updated every single Monday from the Department of Health, right around 9 a.m. So I think the New Hampshire may be on it this week. So, for example, make sure you check the list before you plan any family vacations for spring vacation. Otherwise, you won't be going back to school till May.
Right. And, it hasn't really, and I think everyone knows by now, it's not really the number of positive students that have really impacted us. Because when I was looking at the data, just getting ready for today, so since March 1st, we've had 14 positive cases at Rogers, 10 at Thompson, and 20 at Pell. Pell had a little bit more. But we also have been studying, it's not a student-to-student transmission in the schools. It's usually what happens is it's a family contact or it's a travel thing that they become positive. Since April 1st, we've just had 4. And since at Rogers, 2 at Thompson. And Pell did see a little jump to 7 since April 1st. And again, it wasn't a student-to-student transmission. It's usually from the outside. So we are asking everyone to still be vigilant and follow the COVID mitigation rules of the mask, hand washing, distancing, and limiting your pods with people you know. And we'll just continue remembering we're still in COVID, even though we're, loosening up some of our regulations. But it's the close contacts that always for families is frustrating because their child feels healthy and fine. But when we identify they were within 3 to 6 feet of a positive case, we are required by Rhode and CDC to ask them to quarantine for a required amount of days.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm most worried about, just as being a resident, is we're in this interesting phase where a lot of people are getting vaccinated right now, and hallelujah. But is that going to relax some people? And are people going to start getting together? And our students going to be going back to school? And it's just this snowball effect that could happen if we're not, very careful about how we do this. So I think it's a good reminder. People are getting vaccinated, but some people aren't getting vaccinated. And COVID is still out there. And we have to be careful. Those numbers you gave me for the school system, those about how the state is trending?
We're similar to the state in the sense of we have, and I talked to some of my colleagues, we are seeing some spikes, and a lot of us are attributing it to the warmer weather, and we're also attributing it to some people are getting COVID fatigue, and because people are getting more vaccinated, exactly what you just said, people are getting a little lax in remembering to wear the masks, keep their distance, etc. So we have to keep that messaging going on. And I know going forward, one of the governor's initiatives is eventually having ages 16 and above being able to be vaccinated, especially with proms and graduations coming. I know I've heard rumors that pretty soon they're going to open it up to all those age groups so that we won't have to worry if we have a prom that 2 days later we have to shut down graduation. And that is something we've all thought about. And as we, I just know here in Newport, talking with Principal Vance, it's, let's think about how we space these things out, and maybe we should have them closer versus further apart because there's more tendency to be around a contagious period. So.
And it's a good time to remind people that today vaccines open for those 40 and above, as well as all the previous 16 above with immunocompromised. The governor has indicated I'm looking at a calendar, next Monday with all my notes, next Monday, April 19th, it's supposed to open to 16 and above. So look for an update this week from the governor's office. Testing going to be easily available for teachers and students in Newport?
We do have the Binax testing at our high school level. We test all our athletes. That's very important. And we do have it available at our schools for our students or teachers or anyone that does need it. So our nurses have been unbelievable, as you've probably heard me say. They've been 24/7. Weekends are still our busiest times. And they have all been trained on how to do the testing. So over here at the high school where my office is, Nurse Cloutier, she's up every Tuesday. She's testing all the athletes, and we're staying on top of that. That's very important. That's key. So we'll continue that.
And Anna, I see your question in the comments. I'll get to that in 1 minute. But while I mention that kind of testing, I want to mention the other kind of testing. There was a report on CBS this morning about kids having to be tested at the end of the year that they normally are with exams and other tests. That all still on schedule as normal for Newport Public Schools?
It is. And I will say it's been, we understand the why, but it is very frustrating. So all students, all children are to be tested in grades 3 through 8. And then today we had the SAT at Rogers. We have the PSAT tomorrow at Rogers. And then there's a makeup dates after school vacation in April. That was something we went back, I'll say we, the superintendents with the commissioner's office and Rhode, requesting if we could have some leniency or have the shortened version, which Massachusetts did. But Rhode, the commissioner held to that. She felt we were doing such a great job here in Rhode Island that there was no reason for us to take the shortened version. So we are implementing the state testing. For Pell and Thompson, what that means on Mondays, they are bringing in all children that are distance learners that have not been in the school during the school year. And those are the days they're coming in to take their tests. They have to take ELA, they have to take math, and for grades 4 and 8, I believe they have to take science. So for Thompson, which is a good example, some people may say, why don't you start Thompson 5 days a week as soon as vacation gets over? And the reason we're not doing that is because on Mondays, we are still testing. We've been testing, I think this might be the 3rd Monday, and we probably have another 3 or 4 to go. And it is challenging for working families that usually have their children at the elementary level go to school on Mondays. And for now, for some grades 3 and 4, they have to leave the school so that we can have the school classrooms available for those children that have to come in for testing. So they are going forward and they are on.
Do you think, well, it depends what you believe here, but if you believe that, children may have fallen a little bit behind where they would normally be if life was normal in Newport Public Schools. Do you believe this testing will tell us just how far behind they might be, or does do the teachers and principals and families have a pretty good idea of how far behind they think their students are?
This will give us quantitative data, and that is what the commissioner was hoping for, to see exactly where our children are in every school district. In some cases, because we have, and we do recognize that some students have done pretty well in distance learning. They've learned to manage their time, especially at the high school level where they might have part-time jobs, et cetera. And the teachers have been very flexible as far as maybe meeting them at 5 o'clock to follow up with them while they go to work, whether it's landscaping, restaurants, et cetera. So I would say yes, it will give us information. It will give us district to district comparison, because it will be the same test, and it will enable us to see where we need to focus more. We already know that we are going to have to address skills and specific skills in the math and ELA reading area. That we do know, and we're starting to plan on that. We've also been looking at research. The state has provided opportunities for superintendents, for leaders, to take a look at some of the research that's showing what works and what works in a positive way. In-school tutoring is actually one of the higher, I'll say, activities, initiatives that has shown very powerful and proven results. We also know the focus on specific skills and how we measure that is there. And I'm turning and looking at my board. Mentoring, I was writing them down. We've been having sessions on this. Mentoring is one, and then the literacy push. As you may or may not be aware, there's Rhode Island passed regulations and rules on the science of learning. The science of reading. And all teachers, PK through 12, are either supposed to have some overall exposure, that's for grades 6 through 12, or a review of the basic mechanics of the science of reading and what tactics and techniques have shown to work, and what we thought was supposed to work may not be working. So that's an initiative we have. The other thing is we're learning more about the importance of community, I'll say, initiatives and children learning outside the four walls of a school building, and how they manage to gain the social skills, the critical thinking skills, the confidence in whatever type of learning they have going on, from sailing to playing tennis to going to the bird sanctuary, learning more about outdoors. Those kind of things and activities where I've done an outreach already to our community partners to see during the spring and summer if there are some specific activities or learning opportunities they'd like to offer to our students. That is part of that large ESSER funding the federal government is giving us, and they're encouraging school districts to reach out to the communities, work with your Boys and Girls Club, work with your other community agencies to give children outside the four walls of school an opportunity to learn and grow. And then we have more funding that's coming forward to us to help us to work specifically in the schools. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I know there is a lot going on, and it sounds like you, as well as all of the outstanding superintendents across the state, have certainly learned a lot over the last 13 months now.
Yes.
How different when this is all over, and hopefully one day it's over, will the average school day or school year look from the things that we learned because of COVID? For example, I imagine no more snow days.
Well, that's an interesting topic. It's a controversial one too.
It is.
Because some people really want children to have snow days and to experience what they experienced growing up, like the opportunity to go out and go, sledding and not have to think about school, free day off. So, yes, we do go back and forth on that. We did not have a snow day, But what we did, our teachers were very creative. We did the 3.5, like a half day thing, 3.5 hours instruction. And then it was now go outside and explore nature, go do, write a story or, so children still get the opportunity to go sledding. I know, Rhode is going to come out and let us know there's going to be a cap on how many of those DL days you can use instead of, snow days. So, and for the general public, the difference is if you have a DL day, you don't have to make it up at the end of the calendar year. If you have a snow day, you have to make it up and add it on to your calendar. So there's mixed feelings about that.
Yeah, let them have the snow day. Let me make sure I get to Anna's question. Anna says, hello, any information about how children will receive education without the hybrid model when in quarantine?
What we're doing now, our principals are working with our teachers so that those DL sections they're setting up, they're trying, and it's still, I will say it's still in very rough, capital ROUGH, draft form. They're forming a plan so that if a child is out and our thing would be if they're quarantined and we have to send them out due to close contact, we'll have an instructor available to them so that while they are out on DL.
A topic that's come up before, how about our students that, I don't know if we've had this conversation, Frank and I have had this conversation with somebody, the students in special education and, what is the next 2 months, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, look for them and how do we get them up to speed?
All right. So for most of our children, depending upon the parents, if they wanted their children in 4 days or 5 days a week, we've been doing that since the beginning of the school year. So we've tried, and that was something the governors and Rhode came forward and said, see what you can do when parents have a need. And I will say I'm very proud of our principals. They've just taken those requests and tried as best as possible to always get those children in, even before we're going to this after April, come in 4 days a week or 5 days a week and more often. So we'll continue that. We will, as always, for children that do have IEPs, we will have extended summer learning opportunities, ESL. And those children will qualify for that, and will continue to any kind of compensatory services. And for those that may not know what that is due to maybe being out for COVID or something like that. They need more hours for their IEP. We'll be making those up during the summer as well.
Excellent. What didn't we get to? I know you have plenty more than a half hour to talk about.
There's so much more.
I want to make sure we get the big points out, what time we have left.
So I think the biggest one is staying on the reentry plan when we come back after April. The good news is as many children as possible that want to come in, as many children that wish, we're bringing all the children back 4 days a week, 5 days a week, where possible. Buses are fine now for travel. We will continue to try to offer instruction when and if, to the question today, if someone's put on DL, because that was a very good question we had during our town hall meeting. We started to look at that, and that's in rough planning stages. We have the big one is we have the Thompson Middle School principal search going on. This week we have focus groups going on with parents, students, teachers, community members. After the vacation, we'll have a screening team go over all the applications based upon what these focus groups are saying they want to see in our next leader at Thompson Middle School. And then the following week after the screening committee, which will, narrow it down to about 10, they'll do some speed dating with the applicants. And then we'll narrow it to 5, and then the interviews will go on. And we're hoping by Memorial Day we have we have someone we can announce as a new Thompson Middle School principal. We've had applicants from all over the country, so we're very excited. And we have NESDEC, the New England School Development Council consultants, working with our HR director, Colleen McAndrews. So we have someone in kind of facilitating and overseeing the whole process as well. So the Thompson Middle School principal is a big one. We have the school building projects, which I believe you're going to be speaking with the co-chairs, Becky Bolin and Louisa Boatwright. We're right on schedule there. It's very exciting. We have all the teams selected. Bean Brothers and Studio Jade will be doing the Pell Edition. And then for the Rogers High School new build, we have Gil Bain and the architect design is Slam. We've already had our Good Neighbor meeting at Pell. And for Pell, it's an addition project, not as big as Rogers, but very important because we want to address the drainage problem over there. And we also want to look at the traffic. The traffic flow for that school has been very challenging with all those children and families going in at the same time. So we'll be looking at that. Let me see what else.
I got two. Last week, Commerce Secretary Stephen Pryor mentioned at dances, proms in the state, there will be dancing allowed, but it will be like with a pod. You have to dance with only your table. Is that the case for Newport?
Yes, we have to do the pods. And
then,
so we're all kind of scratching our heads saying, okay, how are we doing this?
Yeah. Not only do you not want to dance with your table, now you have to dance with your table.
I don't envy my building principal at all.
And then graduation. What are, for those not following closely along enough with, how are those plans coming along?
They're coming along great. Topa Field. We're starting a new tradition. It's going to be on the football field. Family and parents will be up in the stands. And we're looking forward to it very much. So we've got a new tradition going on now at the football field. So we're looking forward to that. And I think this year's parent teachers group is just as active. It's almost like a competition now. Now and then I get these little hints of what's coming up because they do want to keep surprises for the seniors. But I won't be surprised if you go down Broadway and Thames this year and you see some of our graduates.
Excellent!
Faces.
That was so awesome to see last year. I hope it continues.
Yes, so. We do too. We do too.
And you just mentioned, for again those who might have missed it or not following on, parent teachers, they've been meeting, I assume, remotely like this.
Yes. Yeah. And anytime, as a matter of fact. So to your point. What are some of the things that have worked out very well? We have found it has been much more convenient and easier for parents to have meetings like this than to drive to the school, sit around a table. And we're actually thinking, those are the things we're thinking of keeping in practice for them. It's made it a lot easier for our families, especially those that don't necessarily work on the island and they have a meeting during the school day.
Excellent. Well, we'll see lots more school buses hitting the roads here in a couple weeks as kids go back to school, and it's a sign of good things to come, and hopefully a great summer around here.
Yes, we're all looking forward to that, and I look forward to coming back because I said I've got a list as long as my arm.
Well, we'll plan some more time soon. I know you have a busy afternoon, so I will let you go. And I appreciate you coming on, and please keep in touch and let us know how the next couple weeks go.
I will. I definitely will. Thank you so much, Ryan. And thank you for everything you do for the community and keeping us all informed. I greatly appreciate it. I look forward to my WhatsApp every single day.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Superintendent. That is Superintendent Colleen Burns Jermain, and we thank her for joining us. And if you missed any portion of this interview, it is live on What's Up Noop, and you can share it with your friends, classmates, fellow teachers, and whoever else you would like to. Thanks for watching.